Welcome to the Evidence-Based Marketer. I'm Andrea Loyne, Digital Marketing Strategist here at Symmetry Partners. Today, we want to talk to you about tools to plan a successful 2022. William Chettle, my co-host, recently sat down with Tom Romano, our Director of National Sales, to discuss tools that will set the right strategic direction for your business and help you to leverage what makes you unique and focus on your true competitive advantages. Now, let's turn it over to them to continue the discussion.
Yeah, going to the next one, because now you've done the as if, right? So now it's where you want to be.
Right, exactly. So you've developed so basically to reiterate the steps. Number one, you brainstorm and identify what the factors of competition are in the financial services industry. Number two, you pick the 6 to 8 that are most appropriate for your business and your geographical location. You plot your as-is profile, and then you can plot your competition's profile. And then based on those two value curves, what you do is you determine what is my to-be profile. And what you want to determine is, based on where you are today, based on where you sit in the industry by looking at the competition, what are the factors that you want to invest more in, enhance, or elevate? And when you elevate a factor, something else has to give, right? Something has to come down. And so where do you want to diminish your level of investment on something? And it's that back and forth that leads to a really strong marketing/business plan.
And from there, once you have that in place, I think something like our growth plan is a great way to start implementing some of these realizations.
I think that this exercise dovetails really nicely into the growth plan workbook that we're going to talk about in a little bit. And like I said, we're happy to help advisors go through these exercises. Our team does it all the time. We do dozens of these a year, and we'd be happy to help you out. And then furthermore, we can help you with, which we'll be talking about in a little bit, the growth plan going forward.
Tom, any other sort of wrap-up thoughts on this before we do transition to the growth plan?
Yeah, just if you're doing, sort of like at the check and balance with this, when you're done with your canvas and you're done with your to-be profile and you've plotted the competition, a couple things that you want to make sure is that you want to make sure that your value curve is jagged, meaning there should be some peaks and troughs. If it's flat, then there's some work to be done. You also want to make sure that's divergent from what your competition is. You should see some opposites, and those opposites should inform you as to where you should potentially be spending your resources going forward to accentuate those differentiating factors. And then lastly, if you do it well, it should lead to a unique positioning statement, a tagline, an elevator pitch, something along those lines. It'll jump out at you when you look at this two-dimensional graph. So those three things, I think that they're a really good way to pressure test to make sure you're doing a good job with this.
Excellent. So you've gone through this, you've got your points of differentiation, and now you're ready to do a specific growth plan for this year. And this is a tool we've put together that a number of advisors have used, and it's not only great for planning your growth, but it's also very useful for kind of refining your value proposition, understanding who you serve, and what you provide to them. And again, this is available in the handout section, and we're happy to help folks walk through this. But it really helps you answer 4 fundamental questions of marketing. And the first one is, who do you serve and who do you want to serve? And this is really important because the more focused you can be here, the more it's going to be easy to market and to educate and frankly identify prospects. Because if your target market is rich people with a pulse, that's a lot harder to focus in on than I focus in on doctors with $1 million in investable assets who are mid-career and who are within 50 miles of my office. That's a great niche right there. And we can talk more about niche marketing if folks want to consult with us on some strategies around that. But understand the demographics, who you serve, the age, gender, income, geographic location, marital status, anything else. Who you serve today on average, and who do you want to serve? Does your current client book of business, is that where you want to be in the future? Often when you're growing your business, you bring on a lot of clients who may not fit your future vision of where you want to go. Psychographics are also important. Um, Personality, values, opinions, attitudes, interests. And you might even find by going through the psychographic section that you actually find a niche right there. And again, who do you have today and who do you want to serve? And then at the end, be specific about niches. Where are your clients? Uh, what are their occupations, their skills, organizations, affiliations? Many times people don't even realize that they've got a concentration of clients in a particular industry or even a particular company. And once you realize that, it can be really powerful. And for example, I remember working with an advisor out in the Seattle region. He had about 3 or 4 clients at Boeing, wanted to get a lot more of them. We used LinkedIn to find out that those folks knew about 3,000 people at Boeing. They were changing their benefits plan at that time. So came up with an educational piece on what the benefit plan changes meant. And he now has so many Boeing clients that this is one of his main focuses. And he actually, back in the days before the pandemic, did an annual dinner for the Boeing clients. So it's really important to understand who you're serving and of course where you want to evolve your business over time. And the strategy canvas can actually help you understand some of those points of differentiation that might feed into this.
William, do you usually find when we're working with advisors on their client demographics that there is a significant, at times significant differences between who they're serving today and who they want to serve?
Yeah, there often is, because again, they might have, when they first started out, they were just happy to get any client, and now they're thinking about, well, I would I really most enjoy working with this type of client, or I can best serve this type of client. And they might want to work with higher net worth folks. They might want to work with people in particular professions. They might find that they particularly enjoy working with a particular type of client. They might really enjoy working with retirees, for example, and want to focus more there. So uh, I would say at least half the advisors I work with would like to pivot more in a particular direction. And it doesn't mean saying goodbye to your old clients, and it doesn't mean not serving other clients that might come in the door. It just means changing your focus and really concentrating your marketing and messaging efforts more in a particular direction.
Sure.
Now, step 2 is what you provide. And what you often find when you look at advisors' websites in particular, it's a long laundry list of products, and most of which are just kind of acronyms and things that clients don't really care about, because nobody really cares about a product. What they're looking for is a solution. The most powerful thing that you can do in terms of messaging and communicating with clients is communicating your why. Why do you do what you do? And then that's followed by the how you do it, and then the what. But unfortunately, most advisors are just at the what level. I offer you retirement plans, 403bs, IRAs, Roth IRAs, et cetera, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. And that's not a place where you compete, going back to the factors of competition, because we all have the same products more or less available, and you're not going to be able to compete on those terms. But competing on your why, that's going to be different. Even your how, for example, a how could be you have an evidence-based approach. You take a comprehensive planning approach. That's somewhat differentiated. But your why is really where you want to focus. But you still need to let clients kind of know all the things that you can do for them, because they tend not to necessarily know these things as well. So what we've just done is go put together a whole list of what you provide, and we've actually put it in very client-friendly terms that you can use this as part of your education. Are you helping clients plan and prepare for educating children? Are you helping business owners protect their business and provide benefits to employees, or buy or sell a business? Are you making sure that clients aren't overpaying taxes through tax optimization and tax efficiency strategies? Again, what's interesting about this is it's not about the what. It's much more about the how are you doing it, and it connects to that why. And maybe there's something else here, but look through this, understand what you want to provide for your ideal client, and ask yourself this question: do your clients know that you provide all these services? One of the things that I think is really important is to regularly educate your clients all that you have done for them and all that you could do for them. This is a great way to earn referrals and to earn more business, because they may not know, for example, that you're able to help them with philanthropy. They may not know that you have expertise in college planning. And so it's really important to remind them that you could do these things. And if they don't need college planning, for example, that you'd be happy to talk to friends, colleagues, etc., who have children and who are in need of that kind of planning. And it's a very powerful referral tool. So that's step 2 of the growth plan. And step 3 is why clients should work with you and how you are different. Now, if you've gone through the strategy canvas, this should be a breeze for you because you'll really understand why you're different. But go through this, think about how do you talk about yourself? How do you even describe what you do? Do you say financial advisor, wealth planner, wealth advisor, family wealth manager? The most popular search term is financial advisor, and that's something that in your websites and other communications you should probably use because that's what people are searching for. But that's not necessarily how you describe yourself in conversation and in your broader marketing. One great thing to do here is actually talk to your best clients and ask them the simple question: when you've referred me in the past, how have you described what I do? And they'll say, well, I talk about how you provide comprehensive service, or you help me sleep at night, or whatever it is that you do. Listen carefully. Those are probably words and phrases that you want to use when you describe what you do. And so when people say, what do? You meet them at a party or whatever, don't say financial advisor. Say something like, well, my best clients say I do this for them. I help them sleep at night. I give them peace of mind. And that's going to earn the next question, which is, tell me more. And you've intrigued somebody and you've immediately differentiated yourself. Think about who you serve. It really is, I think having a niche is increasingly not a necessity, but I think it's important to have specialized expertise and being able to communicate that. What do you provide? What are you offering your clients? Are you offering them comprehensive planning? Are you just going to be the investment manager? Are you offering them, in the example that Tom mentioned, tax planning and tax management? And because I want to is why do you do this? What really is important to you about this? You want to is it delivering better outcomes? Is it helping them sleep at night? Is it giving them confidence? Is it making sure that they are able to get from where they are today to where they want to be in the future? And what do your clients actually value? It's important to understand that are you offering what they value? And this is a great way to look at your current mission statement and then maybe make some changes or enhance it so that it actually fits this direction for your business. And now that you have all this in place, you should also think about messaging, right? How are you going to message all this? How are you going to put this out into the world? How are you going to communicate who you serve, what you provide, and ultimately what makes you different? And this is really important. There's some great research done by Dimensional about the power of having a mission statement and communicating it widely. And Schwab and Fidelity have had similar findings that if you put your mission statement out there, advisors who do that are significantly more likely to grow, get more referrals, etc., because it shows the value you provide. And again, what you do is important, but the why is what you really want to focus in on in your terms of your communications and your messaging. Once you've got all this in place, you can now actually put together a very simple growth plan. We've got a one-pager you can use. You understand who you serve, what you provide, and why clients should work with you and how you're different. Now think about what are your goals, your specific goals going to be. And it's really important that goals be measurable, attainable, realistic. And saying that, oh, I'd like to grow more in 2022 is great. But it's better to say I want to grow 5% more or 10% more or 15% more, because that number is going to really determine how actively you pursue that strategy. And so start with a goal. I would like to bring on 5 more ideal clients this year, or 10 more ideal clients, whatever the number is for you. I would like to increase assets under management with existing clients by 5%, 10%. I would like to bring in new clients from this niche, or I would like to start a part of my practice in this particular niche. That's the big goal, and put a date on it. And then you think about strategies. And so if your goal is to bring on 10 new clients a year, that's basically 1 a month. Well, how are you going to do that? Are you going to revamp your website? Are you going to do events or online events? Are you going to look at networking? Are you going to use social media? And it's probably going to be some kind of combination of the above. And think about, okay, if I'm going to do social media, what does that mean? I'm going to post 3 or 4 times a week. I'm going to comment on people's posts. I'm going to make sure that I share items of value. I'm going to create items of value, such as checklists and white papers that will serve as lead magnets. And I believe that of the 10 people I want to bring on through this year, I can bring on 3 of them through social media. And that way you can kind of keep score on this and be very specific about the steps to take. Um, we've tried to make this as simple as possible. I've seen some plans for marketing and growth that go on for pages and pages. The key thing is understand what you're trying to achieve, put numbers and dates behind it, and then break it down into strategies. Basically, what you're going to be needing to do every month for each of the strategies that you've put in place and each of the tactics that you've put in place. And again, it's probably some combination of the above. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we'd be happy to help you with this, walk through your individual strategy and plan. Tom, question for you. Where have you seen folks who do the strategy canvas, kind of miss the boat? Are there examples where things that maybe landmines or things they should have looked out for that caused it not to be as effective as it could have been?
The biggest challenge is thinking that everything is important and not wanting to divest from certain factors in order to invest further in other factors. That reluctancy can be challenging. I said it before and I'll say it again. I think it's very valuable to have your staff in the room when you do this exercise. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially if you have staff that's working with your clients on a day-to-day basis. They're going to have a purview of your business and a view from your client's perspective that you may or may not have. So those are the two things that I think I would really focus on is that, have some introspection, be honest about your as is profile, because if you think you're doing everything well or investing in everything heavily, I should say, it's impossible. It's not reality.
How long does the process typically take?
It depends on how lively the group is. I suggest 2 hours for the strategy canvas. They typically get done within 90 minutes or so.
Okay.
Absolutely. William, I have a question for you, or I'm going to ask you to comment. An advisor that I know of, who's somewhat of a mentor of mine, had once said to me that she never had a business plan that failed because the business plan she started with at the beginning of the year wasn't the business plan that she ended with. And that's because she made sure that her business plan was dynamic enough to make changes as seen fit. And we've certainly had some curveballs thrown at us in the last 24 months. How often should an advisor revisit that growth plan and make sure that what's going on outside their walls isn't affecting what they're trying to do inside with their business?
Yeah, and that's they should be looking at it on a regular basis, and that's why it's important to break down your goals. Your goal for the year, try to break it down to a monthly, maybe even a weekly, sort of set of numbers. So again, if you're trying to bring on 12 new clients a year, that's one a month. Keep track and look at where you said I was good. You said you were going to do social media, and you were going to expect some results from social media. Is that working for you? You said you were going to do online webinars. Is that working for you? And of course, it's important not to just try something once and give up. I mean, I've had advisors say to me, "Oh, seminars don't work," and because they tried it once and it didn't work. And so anything that you're doing probably needs to be done with the belief that you're going to do it for at least a couple of times before you decide that it does or doesn't work. And it's important to look at what is working really well. If something is working well, you may want to pivot more time, more resources, more attention there. If you're having great success with webinars or videos or social media, maybe you want to spend more time there. And it's really important, to that advisor's point, that it is dynamic, that you are flexible, that you're looking at what's going on in the world. Everybody had great plans at the start of 2020, right? We were all kinds of amazing plans, and we all had to change. We all had to pivot. And that's life. But we then came up with other plans, right? The way we would now we would try to work in a pandemic world. And so The most important thing, though, is try to be mindful and try to be planful. The French writer Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said that a goal without a plan is just a wish. So there are a lot of folks out there that say, I'd love to grow more, I'd love to be more successful, but unless you actually know what you're going to be doing to make that happen, you're just hoping, and hope is not generally a strategy.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Evidence-Based Marketer from Symmetry Partners. If you have any questions, suggestions, or would like more information, please visit us at theevidencebasedmarketer.com.
Symmetry Partners LLC is an investment advisory firm registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The firm only transacts business in states where it is properly registered, excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration of an investment advisor does not imply any specific level of skill or training and does not constitute an endorsement of the firm by the Commission. No one should assume that future performance of any specific investment strategy, product, or non-investment related content made reference to directly or indirectly in this material will be profitable. As with any investment strategy, there is the possibility of profitability as well as loss. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may not be reflective of current opinions or positions. Please note the material is provided for educational and background use only. Moreover, you should not assume that any discussion or information contained in this material serves as the receipt of or as a substitute for personalized investment advice. Please note that nothing either stated or implied on this podcast is intended to be compliance or legal advice regarding your marketing program.